Welcome back to the channel. We actually have two professions to cover today because I decided why not double the trouble. And today we're going to be looking at the new weapons coming for Thief and for Warrior. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the content. So first and foremost, let's talk about Thief because it was the very first one revealed to us in the blog post titled Hurl Venomous Axes with the Thief's Expanded Weapon Proficiency. And of course, all these come with a trailer, which we will look at and discuss in just a little bit. But let's read about what the axe is, and also the two abilities that they have previewed for us. Cal writes, the axe is a ranged damage-dealing weapon that can be utilized by both power and condition builds, depending on the offhand weapon. The core gameplay revolves around throwing axes that linger for a period of time, during which they can be redirected by the dual-wield skill to strike enemies again. Let's take a look at a few skills to demonstrate this. Skill 2 is Venomous Volley, which throws out a fan of 3 poisonous axes. Once these axes reach their final destination, they'll remain spinning at that location but won't deal additional damage while stationary. Up to 6 spinning axes can be active at once. The dual-wield skill with an offhand dagger is Harrowing Storm, or Harrowing Storm. Tomato, tomato. The thief teleports to a targeted enemy and recalls all spinning axes back to themselves, augmenting the axes to also inflict torment. The returning axes maintain their original properties, so in this example, the returning axes that were created by Venomous Volley will inflict both torment and poison. For maximum value, build up more axes before recalling them, as an enemy struck by 5 returning axes will also be immobilized for a short duration. So, this is a very interesting weapon. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to feel about it, because it does feel almost like you're really focused in on this minigame of maintaining where your axes are, and then deciding to augment them with your dual wield ability. And I don't know, it really is going to come down to me trying it out in person to see how it's going to feel. This also comes with a little trailer, and it's a nice trailer. I will say, from a visual standpoint and perspective, this doesn't really feel Thief to me. But once again, many of these, I hope many. I don't want to say many, because it might not be many. They do say that there are placeholder art, UI, sound effects, visuals. So with that being said, what is shown does not read Thief to me. It reads kind of more Warrior. I'm missing that element of shadow magic, and I don't know. I wasn't really expecting thieves to approach axes in this way. And also the fact that it's spinning but not doing any damage does not make sense to me. I'd much rather these axes kind of just stick into the ground wherever they're at, because visually it's like, oh, it's not doing anything else, it's just sitting there. But when it's spinning, you're expecting it to be dealing damage. I think that is a very illogical reasoning, and it doesn't make sense. So if they change the visual, I think it would maybe be a little bit more clear. So hopefully they do change it from spinning. Now, granted, it is very extra, and it is, you know, fun, I guess, to see axes just spinning. But once again, there's going to be up to 6 of these for one thief. If you get a couple, even if you just get another thief on an enemy team, that's going to be 12 axes spinning in locations that you're like, is that going to damage me? Is that not going to damage me? Can I even see those axes? So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I like that it is at least fitting into the niche of power or condition damage, so you have that flexibility. That is something that I like. And they do, I think they showed the stealth skill. It throws an axe that kind of explodes, which is really cool. Honestly, out of the 3 that have been revealed so far, Thief is my lowest rated one in terms of excitement and, or, I don't know, feeling like I'm going to find purpose in it. Does that make sense? Anyways, let's move on to the second, or technically the third revealed weapon. And honestly, this is my favorite so far out of the weapons shown. And this is Staff Warrior. Staff Warrior was revealed in a blog post titled Staff Warriors Bringing Frontline Support to the Heat of the Battle. Finally, warriors are getting some support. in the form of a weapon that is not just Warhorn. I am very excited. And also from the trailer, I'm gonna admit, this is the one that I am most satisfied with from a visual perspective, animation-wise, and also spell effect-wise. And I think if they just lean a bit more into it when it's finalized, it's gonna be probably my favorite weapon, one of my favorite weapons. So let's go over a bit about staff and also the weapon abilities that were shown off. Warrior has been lacking a strong weapon to use in its support builds, and staff serves to fill out some of the tools that warriors need to support their allies. Staff will be playable alongside the other weapons in the beta test, and in the subheader, jumping in to help. One of the key goals for staff skills was creating warriors, or granting warriors the ability to charge to the front lines of battle to empower and support their allies. And for that, we have the slot skill 2, Valiant Leap. Valiant Leap causes the warrior to leap to the target location, healing and granting offensive boons to nearby allies upon arrival. Like this momentum, when you're in melee, you gotta have an ability to either slow down enemies or close those gaps. This is really cool. And if you happen to catch, I'm gonna say it now, the Lightbringers podcast a couple weeks back when we were doing the spotlight on what we think warrior could get, this is very spot on to what I would have wanted. So I'm very pleased with what is shown. And Valiant Leap, that idea of closing that gap, healing and granting boons, love it. I kind of called it, but I really enjoy it. Love it. And they also reveal a second weapon ability. As a frontline support, we also wanted staff warriors to bring some personal survivability to the table, which is found in slot skill 5 with Bullet Catcher. Bullet Catcher starts off as a channeled block skill, but also grants access to a secondary skill, Defiant Roar. Defiant Roar heals nearby allies, with the amount increasing for each attack blocked by Bullet Catcher, up to a reasonable amount, of course. Also, from what we see in the trailer, this is just, it's a great job. The initial leap to the target that we see has a beautiful kind of golden radiating shockwave effect that, at least to me, looks new. And I really, really love that. I hope they kind of lean into that because it does feel more warrior. It does feel more martial. And it feels new, which is important. At least when I saw it, I was like, oh, I have not seen that before. We also see that just the staff warrior hitting and striking targets. You see some of those light specks kind of signifying that there's healing being shared out. I think we see like a projectile that boomerangs back. I wonder if like you're gonna like swing your staff and creating like pressurized air that will go forward and then travel back, which looks pretty cool. We see the warrior dodge back and then rush forward with this big trail of wind behind them, which also looks really impactful, really meaty, what I really want from these new weapons in terms of giving us something new visually to feast our eyes upon. So I'm a really big fan of that. And overall, I was the most pleased with Staff Warrior. I think it's gonna be really fun to use this with your discipline line and tactics to create that frontline support that warriors have long been wanting. We are able to fill every other niche in terms of damage, condition damage. We're very survival, sustain oriented and bruisery. And now you get access to a little bit more of that on-demand healing and support in the form of the staff. And you can pair this with some banners, some shouts. Those were the weapons that were revealed to us. We got Thief and we got Warrior. How are you all feeling about Thief, Axe, and Warrior staff? Out of the two, the most excited for Warrior, I'm gonna be honest. And I think from what was shown visually, I'm the most interested in Warrior. It makes sense, it feels strong. I saw a couple new things in there that I liked, and overall, really enjoyed what was revealed. I think that these daily blog posts are really good in terms of diving into the weapons and giving us something to chew on while we wait for the beta. And I'm very happy about that. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below your thoughts about the new weapons and the 3 that we currently have. What do you think is gonna be next? Are we gonna go into some light armor professions? We have yet to see any light armor professions. I'm very interested in Mesmer, now knowing that it is also a support weapon. And yeah, I'll catch y'all around. Bye everyone, subscribe, like, comment, and share, and do all that. But I'll see you around on the internet. Bye everyone.